Hello and welcome to episode 1 of the Triumph in Scotland trip. I'd be joined by my friend Jason on his Kawasaki, and I'd be on my Triumph Street Twin. This week, heavy storms hit Scotland, and it was one of the most interesting times to go camping. Let's roll the intro and see how we got on. Starting in London, we'd head up through the Lake District to Edinburgh, off to John O'Groats, then along and round, down back to Applecross, passing Glasgow and heading back down. Well, hello everyone. Jason, how was the journey so far? Hot. Why was it hot, Jason?
Massive accident on the motorway. It's a point where we were just standing in traffic.
Yeah,
and, you decided to get off your bike and do a little bit of a dance. Yeah,
big oil tanker, and we had so long to get off. I was out there, cars, I was off the bike, just everyone relaxing. So
stop, start.
Yeah, so we should be. We don't really have a schedule, but we're still looking at arriving at probably the same time as we were. Hasn't slowed us down much, but the airflow is much welcome. We're enjoying our new Cardo headsets. They are really good. I don't want to jinx it, but so far they have been fantastic. Anyone who's looking for a headset, that's the 2 Plus, and I think it's well worth it. Here's Jason modelling his, and there's his face. Yeah, they've been great. Even with earplugs in, we can still hear each other, and the earplugs are just to get us through the motorway section. So now we're going to get some fuel, aren't we? And we've got 187 miles left. Get through another tank, and then we'll text the B&B guy, letting him know we're on our way. So yeah. Getting closer. Yeah, getting closer, and then 300 miles, and that'll be it for the day, and then we can park up and try and get some chips. Great. Catch you guys soon. Here we are here in Keswick. It's taken an hour longer than normal. There's Jason in the background. Took an hour longer than normal because a big lorry flipped over, but apart from that, we are here. It was a very smooth journey apart from that. So headsets work really nice, and the earbuds have definitely taken the edge off the ride. So Jason, how are you feeling? He's going, no! He's stolen my helmet.
I was gonna
How are you feeling?
Good.
Great. I'll just press the right button. Show you more of the background. There you go.
Hot, tired, but look at this view.
Look at that
it's fantastic.
View. Brilliant. Plenty more to come, so thanks for tuning in, and welcome to the start of episode 1. We'll see you in the morning, and then we'll get going on our way to Scotland. If you want to see more of me in the Lake District, I've already done 3 episodes here. Oh, that duck's not very happy. I've already done 3 episodes here, so there's plenty to see. I'll put the link up here. Off to the B&B we go. We're going to try and get in second time around.
The next morning.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the morning of day 1 or 2. Depends if you count travel days as a day. Anyway, you heard me just say, let's try and get into the B&B for the second time. I thought I'd explain why it took us 2 attempts to get into the B&B. It's quite a funny story, really. This B&B I'm very well connected to, and this is probably the 7th week at this lovely B&B. Now, he told me he left the keys with Sydney, and I know he has a young daughter, and obviously they live at the back of their B&B, like most B&B owners do. Now, I was sent a text saying we've left the keys with Sydney. Okay, we've left the keys with Sydney, their daughter. So I just knocked on their side door, shouting up to Sydney. We were really keen to get the keys. We'd done 300 miles. We were quite hungry and just wanted to put some of the luggage in the room before we went down to the takeaway. So for about 15 minutes, we're banging on the doors, calling for Sydney. We're checking under rocks, knowing that the key was left in a box. We eventually gave up and went down to the local takeaway shop. And after waiting about 20 minutes in the very slow takeaway shop, we finally got our food. And just as we got our food, the owner calls back. He says, how did you get on getting in? Trust you found everything okay. It's a room you haven't stayed in yet. So he says, did you find the keys from Sydney? And I said, no, I think Sydney was asleep. Yeah, what do you mean Sydney's asleep? Sydney is the guy from the Tetley tea box, and we've left an empty box of tea bags at the back door, which has your key in it. And I go, I thought Sydney was your daughter. And he goes, no, that's Phoebe. And she's not in anyway. So little did I know, Sydney was a code word for the man on the Tetley tea box left at the back door. And there we were, banging on the back door, the side door, and the front door, and calling their personal home phone. What a brilliant start to the trip. Certainly a miscommunication, but how would we know what Sydney was meant to be? It was also safe to say this wouldn't be our only bad experience with keys and hotels on this trip. Let's roll. Despite having really good headsets, we had some trouble recording the audio. Now, they would sound really good at a stop, but something in them was not filtering out all the engine noise. Now, we didn't hear this engine noise, but we could only hear crystal clear voice from me and Jason as we rode, and we had the earplugs out at this point, so we could really tell what was being transmitted from headset to headset. I connected the headset to my phone, and I got a really good voice recording of us chatting really clear when we were at traffic lights. The trouble came when we tried to move forward. So, if you're wondering why you're not going to be able to hear any of our chat through this, then that's because we had trouble getting the recording to work properly. And to be fair, we haven't seen each other for a while, so the most of the conversation is either not worth listening to or not something that we want to share. It was also nice to just chat about life as well as what was going on the route, rather than keeping up a constant presentation of both of us. Hope you guys understand. So, immediately the TomTom didn't take us onto the best routes. It stuck us on a single track lane, and having just taken us through a residential road, it was not off to the best start. But the goal for today was to head past Carlisle and up to Edinburgh. Well, hello everyone, if you can still hear me and my voice notes hasn't gotten bored. A big old tower. Newspapers. That's quite sweet, isn't it? Oh, it's not the prettiest area, is it? After seeing a mix of really industrial towns and very nice scenic towns, we passed Carlisle. On the left is Carlisle Castle. We then carried on going up towards Edinburgh. It was safe to say from here onwards things got a lot more scenic. Now for my non-UK viewers, hello and welcome, and also, obviously you know Scotland is part of the UK and it's not really a border, it's more of just a line on a map, and the region just changes from there onwards. But what changes with the region, as you'll probably know, is a whole different government, a whole different set of rules, and a whole different bunch of COVID rubbish to get used to. Safe to say though, they're very good at track and trace. I kept forgetting that even if you went into, say, a McDonald's, you still needed to do track and trace, whereas here locally, they're less bothered. So that took a bit of getting used to, and it's a bit frustrating, but their government, very different to ours. But this isn't the politics show. That's the only discussion of government we're having on this channel. I also hope you like my new sat-nav position. In my last trip, I felt like it stuck up a bit too far and ruined a lot of the views. Now nobody mentioned it, so thank you very much for that. Maybe I just see it and you guys don't mind looking at it. But what I've done this time is I've lowered it closer to the camera, and I've also made it so you can see the screen. This is so that in theory, at the bottom of the sat-nav at any point you can see what road we were on. Please feel free to study the footage first and then ask me where we were if it doesn't show it on this road. But as you can imagine, I've just done 1,700 miles, so as much as I'd love to help you, you may be better off just peeking at the sat-nav first and having a look. But feel free to comment and let me know. I had such a great time on this trip, I'd be happy to help you with accommodation and campsites. We'll talk about campsites later, as all this COVID nonsense has made it a lot harder to just turn up at a campsite. We then made our first stop, which is Cairngorms Castle. Now, I'm unsure if we left Scotland for a moment, but this place was run by Forestry England, not Forestry Scotland. So it's safe to say we were not quite in the centre of Scotland yet, but the views had already changed and we thought it was a great time to pull over, have a little stretch and show you a bit of what we're passing through. It's a bit troubly under here. Through the trip, we used my TomTom Rider 550. This sat-nav was brilliant. It was waterproof, it was easy to read, and it changed it to night mode when the light got dark, so you didn't have this glaring screen. I was given some advice to take a paper map with me, but for me, I don't see the point in them. As nice as they are, I think they're a thing of the past. The modern technology meant that I had signal everywhere, and it was so easy to change the route, and it also meant I could add places to visit and see things like speed cameras and radar traps that had been set up along the route. So thank you very much for your advice about the paper maps, but personally I think they're more of a decoration than a necessity anymore. All you need now is a dedicated sat-nav or Google Maps at best. On the way we needed petrol. I've always wanted to use one of these little petrol stations. You ring a bell and often a mechanic from the shop at the back will come out and help you out. This was cool, but the first time ever someone else had filled up the tank for me. But this guy knew what he was doing. He didn't treat it like a car and just rammed the nozzle in and sprayed petrol everywhere. We then arrived on the outskirts of Edinburgh. It was really nice to see that motorbikes are allowed in the bus lanes, and I'm keen to use the priorities and privileges of being on a motorbike whenever possible. It was really nice to see that Scotland have embraced letting motorbikes into the bus lanes, but you do have to be careful, like you do in London, that one, the signs aren't going to change and you're not going to get caught from going from one council to another council's bus lane, and also just to check you've read the sign right. But it was a privilege and I thought we might as well take it. We then made our way towards the centre of Edinburgh, and for the first time our headsets ran out of battery. The joy of these is they charge super quick, so I carry a portable charger in my tank bag, and it was time for a top up while we planned the next journey. Jason, do you want to see an example of two idiots? Clinging to the rock face like goats. This is one of the funniest things I think I've ever seen. Anyway, let's leave them to it. That's one of the funniest things I think I've ever seen. But we've booked the campsite, haven't we? Whey! For the last 3 years, I've been coming to Edinburgh for the first few days of August as part of the Edinburgh Fringe Festival. It was really weird not to be here this year, and the only thing I really wanted to see was what the Royal Mile is like without millions of tourists. I'll show you a quick screenshot now. That was it. I'll show you a photo of what it's normally like. Can you see the huge difference? And as well, it was nice to see the castle and have a look around Edinburgh too. We then went over the Queen's Ferry crossing and headed towards our campsite for the evening.
PM.
And here we are, this is Jason relaxing in his tent. How are you doing in there? You relaxed?
My arse hurts. Hey guys, welcome to my crib. So here we got my lovely bed set up with my lovely, I said lovely twice. It is lovely anyway. My lovely sleeping bag and inflatable air bed, so hopefully I'll have a good night's sleep. And then over this side we've got my motorcycle stuff, so what I'll be using during the day, and then my panniers and that, which have got all my toiletries, camping stuff, everything. So I'm going to be nice and dry.
Very
and
good.
Nothing's now on my bike.
Nice. And there's my little tent, so you guys know what that's like inside already.
The next morning.
Here we have Jack emerging from his den, ready for some bacon. Can you smell the bacon?
Almost. In terms of where we stayed, from here onwards it's campsites. In the description of each video will be where we stayed in that video, along with where we stayed throughout the trip. You do still have to check with these campsites, and COVID has made it a lot harder to just stroll up and ask for a pitch if you don't have your own loo. But they're all absolute gems of a campsite, and I'd be happy to recommend them to you. But again, please check before you turn up. Don't just assume you can wander up. That was what we thought we could do. Good morning.
Good morning.
This is cool, isn't it? How would you describe the sun today?
Hot.
Yeah, strangely
It's
hot.
strangely hot. I was expecting it.
But it's already about 20 degrees.
Tea time, but it's coffee for me.
But it's already about 20 degrees. Well, here we are. We're just leaving campsite number 1. There's Jason. Feeling ready?
Yeah.
Feeling exciting? Great. Lovely campsite. We'll definitely come here again.
Map ready.
He's got his old school map. He's got his old school map ready, which is good.
We're coming up here somewhere around Aberdeen.
Yeah, we're all around Aberdeen.
And then round.
Along that way. But of course, I can't read a road map, can you?
No.
No, I'm just sitting with the sat nav. So yeah, brilliant. definitely stay here again, won't we?
Yeah.
Cool. Lovely stuff. Alright, you ready? Whee! Leaving the campsite, we said goodbye to the lovely people who came and offered us some tea. This guy was great. He brought us tea in proper mugs, and in the morning he said he would have, but we got up too early for him. It was surprising to hear that at campsites, a lot of these people sit up for weeks and weeks at a time. The chap we spoke to set up for 5 weeks in that exact same space. I don't think I could do it, but I did always wonder why they get such a permanent setup with the chairs, with the awning, with everything. But it seems that if you're there for 5 weeks, you might as well make it home. Anyway, it was a great sign that we were only going to meet lovely people, and I'm glad to say that everyone we met was so nice. We did have some trouble with the kids sitting on the bikes when we had our backs turned, but the parents were very apologetic, and I did mention to them it's very rude to sit on a bike without asking. Now obviously, we would never do this, and you could tell it's just a family in their holiday bubble, but it did remind me of that scene from Sons of Anarchy. One day they're going to meet a biker who isn't as nice as us, so it was important to help spread the message that you can't just go jumping on anyone's motorbike for a photo op, especially if it tips over or the owner isn't as nice as us. Anyway, let's move on. Hey everyone, we're here at Pitlochry Dam, just had a nice lunch, and we're just at the bottom of the dam obviously, so we're going to walk up there and have a look from the top. Jason, how are you getting on?
I'm getting on alright.
Great, sunny isn't it?
Yeah, it's lovely hot.
How much longer you reckon it's going to be sunny like this?
I'm hoping for the rest of the trip.
Yeah, but realistically?
I'm hoping for the rest of the trip.
Realistically, I reckon tomorrow. But anyway.
Don't jinx it.
So, after seeing Pitlochry Dam, we headed up for the Cairngorms, the Caravans, the Cairngorms, however you decide to say this place, the foresty bit. I'm sure Jason's laughing right now because we tried to get me to say it right, but I just cannot say whatever this place is. Cairngorms. However it is, it was a lovely place. It has a ski resort in the winter, so it was a bit weird. It felt like arriving at a very out-of-place base camp at one stage. But every so often there'll be a huge crack that runs just off centre of the line you want to be taking. Here's me caught in one of the cracks, and one of the worst things you can do is attempt to get out of that crack too quickly. My best style for these is just to ride it out, and as long as you stay in your line and you don't touch the brake, you should be okay. We carried on going, and the confidence was certainly building. What a fantastic road, and a beautiful bike to be doing it on. There's some deer up there. Oh dear, oh dear. We were just chatting about where we're going for our camping. Nice road here. We were just talking about where we're going for camping tonight and what the next stop is, which is ice cream by the harbour. And I saw these antlers sticking up. Jason's got a better camera, so he might be able to show you, but there is about 20 deer sticking their head up there. Isn't that cool, folks? Right, we're going to get back on the road and we'll see you soon. Yes, stony. soon passed the ski resort. I've never actually been to a ski resort, and it was really weird to see one in the winter. Apart from the original cracks in the early parts of this video, it was just smooth sailing from here onwards. It really got me confident in these corners. You can see I'm taking the corners at 50 or 60. Would have never have dreamt of that before, but the confidence that this bike inspires you on this road is great. This road also got me thinking about what it's like to own a sport bike actually. I loved hammering through the corners with the engine braking and the engine roaring behind me. If anyone knows a really good dealer in the UK for sport bikes, preferably a Ducati, then I would absolutely love to go and try one out. But if anyone wants to recommend any very nice dealership that let you take test rides on sport bikes, I'm definitely interested in the Panigale range or perhaps the Yamaha R1. It'd just be really nice to try it out, half an hour. So if you're watching this and you know someone, or there's a really nice dealer that you're friends with, then I would absolutely love to try out a sports bike. Part of that was the fact that the local Ducati club seemed to be out. Anytime I stopped the camera, Panigale would always rocket past. It was the same further up Scotland, although that was different. It was all GS riders everywhere. We did see some retro bikers, which I'll show you later, but certainly got me thinking about getting on a GS. In the can, I have a Urban GS video. I'm waiting for the right time to publish it, as it's sort of a backup video, in case I can't find anything else to talk about. So what I'm going to do is probably get through the whole of the Scotland video, and then I'll put that one up, and then there might be something else coming up for you soon. After checking out the scenery, it was clear we needed some dinner. We headed towards Peterhead, and we got camping just on the outskirts of Peterhead. It was a really nice site. It was definitely a little bit run down, and not the best first impression, but the owners were so nice. We mentioned we were getting ready to go out again for beer, and he said, "No worries, I'll have a Wick round." Next thing we know, he comes out with 3 bottles of Budweiser and a whole bottle of red wine for us to take our pick. He was really nice about it, and of course we gave him some extra cash in the morning to cover the stock up of new beer, and the camping fee too. Camping fees, it's really hard to tell you what we paid. I'd have a record of it all, and on average it was about £15 each. On the really outskirts it was £10 each. One night we even got it for £5 each, but I don't want to give you guys false promises of prices, but just know that on average we spent about £10 to £15 each every night on camping, but that includes electric and of course access to the showers and toilets. The showers and toilets are the main problem of why you can't just turn up at a campsite anymore. Some of them have number limits now, and some of them were outright saying no if you didn't have your own toilet. On average, it took 5 phone calls, and the 5th one that we called was also the first to answer, and they would be the first one to say yes normally. One time we tried, I think, 7 before we finally got a yes, and we just turned up somewhere on the off chance as well. He was really nice, and he certainly helped us out. He had a motorbike too, and he was kind enough to unlock his garage for us and let us have a look. We then sat down inside. I had scampi and chips, Jason had fish and chips. You'll notice fish and chips is a recurring theme on this trip. For me, it's a holiday food. It's something that's really easy to get hold of, and I have not yet met anywhere, especially by the sea, that does a bad fish and chips. It's literally on their doorstep. And for me on holiday, I could probably have something fishy and something chippy every night, aka fish and chips. We then set up camp for the evening. I'll put the location here on the screen now. They were really nice people, and again, this is the same people who did the Wick round, so we didn't have to go out again for beer. Another bit of advice for camping is take something to put under your stand. You'll soon find out that even though your stand is quite wide, it will still sink into the floor. Even something as simple as a crushed up drink can will do the trick.
The next morning.
So that's all from this episode. You've seen day 1, you've seen day 2, and here's a quick preview of what happens in the next episode. We look at a lighthouse. I take a selfie with Loch Ness. We meet some other bikers, set up camp by the lake, and go and have a look at some rocks and some sea. And of course, a barbecue too. And of course, Scotland to enjoy. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you for episode 2. If you liked this and you want to see more, there's already a 3-part series of me in the Lake District. And if there's somewhere you'd like to see me go, then please let me know. This YouTube channel is all about taking you on my adventures and getting me out of the house. So thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Catch you next time. How you doing in there?
My arse hurts.